Welcome back to my channel Celebuzz. Please share and subscribe and press the bell icon for new updates. In a shocking development that has sent ripples throughout the entertainment industry just days before Sean Diddy Combs' high-profile trial on serious trafficking and racketeering charges, multiple sources have confirmed that his eldest son, Christian King Combs, is reportedly working behind the scenes with federal prosecutors in New York. This cooperation comes at a critical juncture as the music mogul prepares to face what could be one of the most significant celebrity trials in recent memory. Two law enforcement insiders revealed that court files reviewed on Friday include a sealed memo detailing expected testimony from the 27-year-old rapper, whose involvement could potentially flip the entire case on its head. Former Assistant U.S. Attorney Mark Diaz noted that close family testimony is extremely rare and incredibly powerful, especially in conspiracy cases like this one. Prosecutors believe Christian holds direct knowledge about private jets, exclusive guest lists, and hush-hush money transfers connected to Diddy's infamous parties in the Hamptons and Miami. Events that now sit at the center of a high-stakes investigation spanning from 2015 to 2022. The sealed memo reportedly lists 6 major areas Christian is ready to discuss: private jet passenger lists, payment instructions from companies tied to Diddy, real-time chats during parties, security, team duties, post-party cash splits, and guidance given after media started investigating. This cooperation apparently took shape quickly after Homeland Security agents raided Diddy's LA and Miami mansions in March, seizing phones, laptops, and detailed financial records. Defense teams who've reviewed the evidence claim at least 14 of those devices contain father-son conversations that prosecutors now want confirmed through live testimony. Christian reportedly spoke with prosecutors multiple times in April in the presence of his own legal team, timing that coincides with when Diddy's crew started complaining they were being kept in the dark. Messages pulled from an encrypted app allegedly show Christian organizing luxury charter flights, flying high-profile guests to private all-white parties in the Hamptons, plus late-night yacht gatherings in Biscayne Bay. Prosecutors claim these flights, funded by shell companies linked to Bad Boy Entertainment, are key to proving Diddy ran a coordinated operation using his employees to move people across state lines for illegal purposes. Industry experts suggest Christian's cooperation exposes a growing generational rift inside the Combs clan, especially after Christian made it clear on social media earlier this year that he's focused on music and fashion, not finance. Friends say the March raids shook him significantly, particularly when video surfaced of armed agents swarming Diddy's LA mansion, a spot Christian reportedly often used to record music. While no other family members are officially cooperating at this time, word is that investigators have reached out to both Justin Combs and Quincy Brown, asking them to sit down voluntarily. Reactions within the black entertainment world have been mixed, with some industry veterans expressing sympathy for Christian's difficult position between family loyalty and legal pressure, while others argue he has a moral responsibility to speak the truth regardless of family ties. Against this backdrop of potential family testimony, Diddy has firmly rejected a plea agreement that would have capped his sentence at 12 years, required him to admit to 1 count related to trafficking, surrender all weapons seized during the March raids, and forfeit approximately $20 million. "I don't see it happening," his attorney stated bluntly when questioned about the possibility of a plea deal. He believes he's innocent and believes he needs to stand up not just for himself, for his family, and for everybody who's been targeted by the federal government. This defiant stance comes as newly unsealed documents have revealed that Diddy allegedly funneled at least $74 million through a complex web of 17 shell companies between 2016 and 2023. According to prosecutors, these transactions are central to their case, with the ledgers attached to a late Friday court filing showing wire transfers moving from core Bad Boy Entertainment accounts into LLCs registered in Delaware, Nevada, and even the British Virgin Islands. Investigators claim this elaborate financial structure bankrolled private Gulfstream flights, luxury rentals in the Hamptons, and top-tier security, the exact setup mentioned in earlier affidavits. Forensic accountant Lydia Marcato, hired by federal authorities, reported identifying identical 5-figure withdrawals made just hours before certain invite-only events. The same gatherings court documents label as high risk. 2 invoices reportedly show Christian Combs signed off as the internal approver for yacht rentals and catering costs, further connecting him to the financial aspects of the case. Additional financial complications emerged when federal agents served a supplemental warrant at J.P. Morgan Chase, pulling records tied to De Leon Tequila's marketing funds. A source close to the investigation flagged a massive $900,000 transfer from the tequila business to a dormant media company owned by one of Diddy's longtime advisors, with that same money allegedly paying for a private jet charter the following day. Prosecutors claim this jet took 8 unidentified passengers from Teterboro, New Jersey to Nassau, Bahamas, as part of what they've termed the White Sands weekend referenced elsewhere in the indictment. The financial entanglements extend to charitable activities as well, with ledgers showing $6.4 million in donations, including $450,000 to Howard University and $300,000 to a youth arts organization in Los Angeles. However, prosecutors allege some of these charitable contributions were followed by matching withdrawals from Diddy's personal accounts, suggesting he may have used philanthropic activity to quietly refill his own coffers, a practice former IRS criminal investigator John Mendes described as circular financing that serves as a pressure release when banks start asking too many questions. Throughout this legal storm, Diddy's defense team has mounted an aggressive counteroffensive, with lead attorney Aaron Sussman characterizing the financial records as nothing more than documentation of normal business expenses for a high-profile entertainment mogul. In a strongly worded letter to Judge Aaron Subramanian, Sussman accused the government of attempting to transform everyday hospitality costs into evidence of criminal activity. The defense maintains that these were simply normal industry gatherings involving consenting adults and calls the government's case hyped-up nonsense meant to smear a mogul. They've particularly objected to what they see as prosecutors weaponizing family ties, and plan to vigorously challenge any cooperating witnesses, including questioning Christian's motives if he does indeed take the stand. The defense strategy appears focused on portraying these events as typical entertainment industry functions, rather than the coordinated trafficking operation alleged by prosecutors. They argue the government is relying heavily on witnesses who might be motivated by potential financial gain through civil lawsuits, rather than a genuine interest in justice. Diddy's team intends to call expert witnesses, including sociologist Katrina Bell, to explain that VIP parties frequently involve confidentiality, agreements and security measures as standard industry practice, not indicators of criminal conspiracy. The defense has pushed back against the introduction of what they term prior bad act evidence under Federal Rule 404B, which might allow prosecutors to bring up a 2013 Miami incident where former bodyguards claim they were instructed to confiscate guests' phones and delete photos, arguing such testimony would unfairly prejudice the jury with unrelated past allegations. In their filings, Diddy's attorneys have consistently emphasized their client's position that all encounters involved consenting adults and that he plans to take his chances that a jury will agree with this characterization of events. They've filed motions to protect private family communications from being entered into evidence and maintain that prosecutors are blowing things out of proportion by turning adult nightlife into a crime scene. The legal team has vowed to go hard at any cooperating witnesses and to thoroughly question Christian's motives if he does testify, especially considering he has not been charged with any crimes himself. Despite their vigorous defense efforts, Diddy remains incarcerated at Brooklyn's Metropolitan Detention Center with no bail after Judge Subramanian ruled in March that the new allegations, combined with firearms found during the raids, justified keeping him behind bars pending trial. His legal team has submitted a fresh bail request citing family health concerns, but prosecutors have resisted, arguing that Diddy's global connections and substantial resources make him a flight risk. As Monday's jury selection approaches, the case continues to generate intense public interest and media scrutiny, with the courthouse implementing heightened security measures, similar to those seen during the Ghislaine Maxwell trial. Each potential juror is being asked to complete an extensive 24-page questionnaire covering their familiarity with Diddy's music and public persona, their views on conspiracy charges, and whether they know any of the 162 potential witnesses who may be called to testify. Judge Subramanian has scheduled a final pre-trial conference for Monday morning to address any last-minute issues and finalize the witness schedule, with the selection process expected to take approximately 3 days, despite the high-profile nature of the case. If everything proceeds according to the current timeline, opening statements could begin as early as Thursday, with Christian's testimony potentially coming during the first week of proceedings. The prosecution's case will likely feature digital forensic analyst Omar Velasquez, who claims encrypted chats show pre-arranged guest pairing supporting the trafficking allegations. Velasquez is also prepared to present location data from seized phones, placing Diddy's security team, certain guests, and staff at off-site apartments after the official parties concluded. The witness list includes 3 former aviation staffers, including a mechanic prepared to testify that flight logs were routinely wiped clean of passenger names before audits, a practice allegedly justified as protecting VIP privacy. Beyond the courtroom, the case is already sending significant shockwaves through the entertainment and business worlds. Some liquor distributors have temporarily halted orders for Diddy's alcohol brands while awaiting trial developments. Sotheby's confirmed they're delaying the auction of his contemporary art collection, which had been scheduled for July, citing inability to guarantee clear title while federal forfeiture remains a possibility. Warner Music Group executives have convened emergency risk assessment meetings to determine whether streaming revenue flowing through Combs-controlled publishing companies could potentially be frozen under asset seizure regulations. Meanwhile, streaming numbers for the Bad Boy back catalog have reportedly skyrocketed as public interest in the case grows, with fans revisiting the music that defined an era of hip-hop and R&B. Cultural commentators note the case has sparked intense online debate, with competing hashtags highlighting divisions in public opinion about the family dynamics and broader implications of the prosecution. With opening statements potentially beginning later this week, all eyes remain fixed on this case that many believe could redefine celebrity accountability. If convicted on all counts, Diddy faces the possibility of spending over 20 years behind bars, a fate that seemed unimaginable for the once untouchable music industry titan, whose influence extended from music into fashion, spirits, and media empires worth hundreds of millions of dollars. The cultural significance of this case extends far beyond the immediate legal proceedings, touching on foundational questions about power, accountability, and the complex intersection of entertainment, wealth, and justice in American society. Industry insiders who spoke on condition of anonymity revealed that Diddy's case has triggered widespread anxiety across multiple entertainment sectors, with numerous high-profile figures quietly distancing themselves from past associations with the music mogul and scrubbing social media photos and references that might connect them to his now controversial parties and business dealings. The ripple effects have been particularly acute within the hip-hop community, where Diddy's influence as both mentor and gatekeeper helped shape careers spanning 3 decades of music history. Former Bad Boy artists have largely maintained public silence, caught between loyalty to the man who launched their careers and the increasingly troubling allegations emerging from court documents. Mary J. Blige's team has offered no comment regarding reports she might receive a defense subpoena, while Usher's representative stated he hasn't been contacted by anyone involved in the case, despite his well-documented early career connection to Diddy's mentorship circle. The legal proceedings have reignited complex discussions about the historical treatment of black entertainment figures by the justice system, with some community leaders expressing concern about selective prosecution, while others emphasize the importance of holding powerful individuals accountable, regardless of their cultural significance or philanthropic contributions. National Urban League President Mark Morale urged the public to separate due process from moral judgment, while acknowledging the potential long-term impact on Diddy's charitable legacy. Howard University, recipient of substantial donations from Combs, issued a carefully worded statement indicating they are monitoring the situation, but stopped short of addressing whether funds would be returned if proven connected to illegal activities. The case has also forced a reckoning within the luxury spirits industry, where Diddy pioneered black entrepreneurship through his groundbreaking partnership with Ciroc Vodka and subsequent ventures with De Leon Tequila and other brands. Marketing. Executives at several major beverage corporations have reportedly commissioned internal audits of their influencer and celebrity partnership programs, establishing new compliance protocols specifically designed to prevent potential entanglement with personalities whose business operations might conceal improper activities. Cultural critics note that the timing of this case coincides with broader societal reassessment of powerful entertainment figures in the post-Me Too era, with particular attention to how wealth and influence have historically insulated certain individuals from consequences. The sealed testimony of Christian Combs potentially marks a significant moment in this evolving cultural conversation, especially given his status as inheritor of his father's entertainment legacy. Music journalists have observed that the younger Combs generation, including Christian, Justin, and their siblings, have spent their entire lives in the spotlight created by their father's fame, with their childhood and adolescence documented extensively through reality television, social media, and celebrity news coverage. This unprecedented visibility has paradoxically offered them little privacy, while simultaneously shielding them within a carefully controlled public narrative that is now potentially unraveling through court filings and sealed testimonies. The case has particular resonance with younger audiences who came of age during the social media era, where the distinction between authentic personality and carefully crafted brand has increasingly blurred, especially for figures like Diddy, who successfully transitioned from music producer to lifestyle magnate. TikTok and Instagram have exploded with content analyzing old interviews, party footage, and celebrity interactions through the new lens provided by the indictment details, creating a form of crowdsourced digital archaeology that attempts to identify warning signs that might have been previously overlooked or dismissed. Meanwhile, Legal experts note that the prosecution's focus on financial transactions represents an evolution in how trafficking cases are built and prosecuted in the digital age, where electronic banking records, location data, and encrypted communications create documentary trails that can be reconstructed years later with forensic precision. Former federal prosecutor Elena Michaels, who specialized in complex financial crimes, explained that modern trafficking investigations follow the money first and foremost, establishing patterns that connect seemingly legitimate businesses to potential exploitation. The digital exhaust we all leave behind through transactions, travel, and communications makes it possible to reconstruct timelines and relationships with unprecedented detail. This technological dimension adds particular weight to Christian's potential testimony, as digital natives of his generation navigate digital privacy and electronic communication very differently than previous generations, potentially creating records and connections that were never intended to be examined in a legal context. The immediate consequences of the case have already begun reshaping Diddy's commercial empire and legacy in ways that may prove irreversible, regardless of the trial outcome. Last Friday's emergency board call at Combs Enterprises revealed the severe operational strain on his business holdings, with COO T.K. Brooks reportedly informing senior executives they're actively exploring selling minority shares of the Sean John Fashion Archives and pausing a planned major hospitality launch in Miami that had been years in development. Staff members at multiple Combs-connected businesses received formal notices warning of potential furloughs if legal proceedings extend beyond initial projections, creating immediate employment uncertainty for hundreds of workers whose livelihoods depend on the continued viability of his brand. The financial implications extend well beyond Diddy's immediate business interests, affecting numerous partnerships, investments, and licensing agreements that have been central to his transition. From music producer to diversified entrepreneur, companies that previously highlighted their association with Diddy's brands have begun quietly revising marketing materials and corporate presentations to minimize these connections, with several major retailers reportedly renegotiating placement agreements for his product lines pending the trial outcome. The spirits industry has been particularly affected, with distribution channels for De Leon tequila experiencing significant disruption as regional distributors adopt wait-and-see approaches before committing to new inventory orders. Industry analyst Morgan Chen of Beverage Market Insights noted that the premium spirits category is exceptionally image-conscious, and the reality is that regardless of legal outcomes, the detailed descriptions of these parties entering the public record creates association problems for luxury brands built on aspirational lifestyle positioning. The situation has created an unprecedented case study in celebrity brand risk management that marketing professionals and business schools are already incorporating into contemporary analysis frameworks, examining how companies can better insulate themselves from reputation damage when partnering with high-profile individuals whose personal conduct might eventually contradict carefully crafted brand values. Harvard Business School professor Janelle Richards, who specializes in crisis management for luxury brands, commented that the Combs case demonstrates the double-edged sword of celebrity founder brands, where the personal charisma and lifestyle that initially attracts consumers can become an existential liability if that same lifestyle becomes legally problematic. Beyond commercial considerations, music historians and cultural archivists are grappling with what this case means for the preservation and interpretation of Bad Boy Records' undeniable contributions to American musical development. The label's sound defined much of 1990s and early 2000s hip-hop and R&B, with production techniques and visual aesthetics that revolutionized how urban music was presented and consumed by mainstream audiences. Museum curators and music journalists express concern that legitimate artistic accomplishments and cultural impact might become permanently overshadowed by personal allegations, creating complex challenges for institutions dedicated to documenting hip-hop's evolution as a cornerstone of American cultural expression. Meanwhile, academic researchers studying the intersection of wealth, race, and celebrity in American society have noted the case provides an unusually transparent window into how fortune and fame can create systems of insularity that operate adjacent to normal societal constraints. Sociologist Dr. Kiara Williams of Columbia University, whose work focuses on power dynamics in entertainment industries, observed that what makes this case so compelling from a research perspective is how clearly the financial documents allegedly demonstrate the infrastructure required to maintain certain lifestyle elements of mega celebrity. The private jets, security details, exclusive properties, and confidentiality systems that essentially create a parallel world operating under different rules than ordinary society. This academic interest extends to legal scholars analyzing how prosecutorial approaches to complex cases involving wealthy defendants have evolved, with particular attention to how digital evidence gathering has transformed the landscape of what can be proven in court. Constitutional law expert Professor James Henderson of Georgetown Law noted that the scale of digital evidence in this case, from encrypted messages to financial transfers to location data, represents a fundamental shift in how conspiracy cases can be constructed. The prosecution appears to be pursuing a strategy that uses digital breadcrumbs to establish patterns of behavior rather than relying primarily on witness testimony, which has traditionally been more vulnerable to credibility. Challenges. As jury selection proceeds under intense media scrutiny, the broader conversation around this case continues evolving across social media platforms, community organizations, entertainment industry boardrooms, and academic institutions, underscoring how the eventual verdict will resonate far beyond the immediate legal consequences for Diddy himself. The case has already begun reshaping how power, accountability, and transparency are discussed in relation to entertainment industry practices, potentially establishing new expectations for how celebrities, especially those with vast business, holdings, and cultural influence, structure their operations and document their activities in an era of increasing scrutiny and evolving standards of conduct.